quorum.
Have our item held over from this morning. Item 8, approve amendments to the county policy regarding prohibited items in county facilities to include additional prohibitions regarding sticks and flag staffs and prohibition of flyers in county facilities.
Mike, but just before you get into this, has county council looked at this?
We looked at it briefly before. Now we have some additional recommendations for the board this afternoon.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll listen to them with some interest.
Because it said on here that
I mean, on the face of it, I got to tell you, big questions popped up. So
No, I understand, but and I'll just cut to the chase. And I have reviewed the letter from Mr. Kravitz of the ACLU, and as to the first issue regarding sticks with placards, poles, whatnot, I'm not convinced that that is even a freedom of expression issue to bring sticks. You can bring all the placards you want, but you're bringing sticks and flag poles and things into county. I'm not convinced of that. In addition to which, the full prohibition is sticks with placards. So it's not the objection that you could bring sticks, but not ones with placards. It doesn't really hold water because that's not what the prohibition said. As to the second, my office won't concede that county buildings are an open public forum. They may have become a limited public forum, but to the extent that Mr. Kravitz made some good points, we are suggesting that if the board wants to go down this way, that as to the flyer prohibition, that you add at the end of the sentence, I'll just read the whole thing. Flyers, pamphlets, brochures, or such other printed materials that are not produced by the county or under the auspices of the county shall not be distributed or posted in county facilities except for material, and this is where I add language, except for material presented to county boards, commissions, or committees for consideration by those bodies, and for material presented during authorized use of county meeting facilities, period.
Could you have that printed up?
No. not this afternoon, because I handwrote it. But I mean, I will, but it's...
Well, maybe, Bob, you could read again. While you were reading, I was trying to find what paragraph.
Okay, if you look on
under discussion?
the last page of the proposed policy, which are prohibited items in county facilities, which is the attachment,
Yes.
and you will see flyers.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I'll read it again. Flyers, pamphlets, brochures, or such other printed materials that are not produced by the county or under the auspices of the county shall not be distributed or posted in county facilities, except for material presented to county boards, commissions, or committees for consideration by those bodies, and for material presented during authorized use of county meeting facilities, period.
I couldn't write that fast.
I've written it down. I just can't print it. I mean, I will type it at some point.
I think I heard that in its entirety. But does that take a situation where somebody walks into the foyer of a county building and they want to have a sign of some kind?
A sign.
A sign or signs? A pamphlet or leaflets?
A pamphlet or leaflet, that would be prohibited.
And that in your opinion has no First Amendment implications.
I
it's because
believe
it's not a forum.
It's not an open public forum. It's a limited public forum, and that we have the ability to restrict or close the use of limited public forums. But yes, it would be prohibited under this.
Well, no, I'm just wondering where the limits are, First Amendment limits are with respect to a public building.
If the public buildings are open public forums, then this policy is illegal. Okay, and I won't concede they are. If public buildings are limited public forums, then all this is a time, manner, place restriction of the use of a limited public forum. But if county buildings, and I don't, and I will not concede that the county buildings in themselves have become open public forums inside.
Okay.
If they are, we can't get here.
Yeah, I understand your I understand your point. Was the end of your sentence that something to the effect of unless approved by the county?
No, and for material presented during authorized use of county meeting facilities, we have a number of, of existing county policies on how you go about the League of Women Voters uses this room during election years, and
Okay.
I will guarantee you that printed material and brochures and flyers are distributed during that meeting.
So, in the instance that, back to my foyer in some unnamed county building, not ours, here, not the administration, but although it could be, somebody says, you know, we would like to hold up some signs and hand out some pamphlets. We could provide a process for, in effect, permitting that, correct?
Well,
I'm not.
that would be even more ticklish, I think, than an outright prohibition.
I don't doubt that at all.
Okay.
I will concede that.
But should you desire to have time, place, manner restrictions on the utilization of county facilities for the provision, holding up signs, as long as they're not on a stick, you can do. We've got them in here all the time. We've
Right.
got them in the foyer all the time. But if the board wanted to look at the development of processes for time, place, manner, permitted time, place, manner restrictions on the use of county facilities as a public forum, we can.
And I'm, by asking the question, I'm not suggesting
No, I understand.
necessarily want to do it. I want to understand.
I would prefer to, as the county's lawyer, either the status quo, whatever it may be, continue, or we do something like this, which is a prohibition unless you are in, a meeting or an authorized, you fall under our other policies regarding use of meeting facilities.
And then insofar as speech is concerned associated with labor activities of organized, recognized labor organizations, that would be defined by labor law principles colored by the First Amendment. Is that the case?
Colored by the First Amendment, I think this would, you can, as I say, signs fine. The MMRB, in our instance, would govern whether something was an unfair labor practice or not in terms of restricting the right of unions to communicate with their members. This has nothing really to do with the right of unions to communicate with their members, because that's governed under...
Well, I wasn't thinking about strictly communicating with their members as much as I was thinking about communicating with the public.
They would not be able to bring flyers and brochures and pamphlets and printed materials into county facilities.
Okay.
For distribution.
Okay. All right. I guess what I would like to know then, Mike, I'd like to know what our current policy or practice is. Do we have any written? We have no written policy beyond what's in this staff report, I'm assuming.
Not that I'm aware of this.
Okay. Do we have any existing policy or unwritten policy or practice?
I don't know if, but in terms of practice regarding the published items, it's not been an issue. So I really couldn't even say what the practice is. The practice has been regarding the sticks and flag sticks have been that we have been asking people to leave under those conditions,
yeah,
and explaining to them that it's simply a safety issue.
And that's been focused here.
That's
Not,
true.
and
as well in the lobby. Because when you get a large audience.
This hasn't been an issue unassociated with the proceedings of the Board of Supervisors or the Planning Commission or some deliberative body.
As far as I'm aware, that's correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's questions I have for the moment.
All right. I have a question from that discussion. Does that mean that anyone can have flyers and whatever you want to call it off the premises, like on the sidewalk, or?
Absolutely.
How about
This is inside, this is in county facilities.
So out in the plaza, they can still do that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Donald?
Question, what about in areas that are